faster you step into a new identity, the sooner you get what you want. That's only if you understand this simple process that has helped people successfully reinvent themselves while still in plain sight. I have quite a bit of experience with being in the messy middle while still on display for all to see. Starting as a college dropout, working in corporate America while trying to get a YouTube channel up and running that would turn into a business. Back in 2007, when I started on YouTube, people thought I was a literal weirdo for filming myself in public. Now it's all resulted in a profitable personal brand that's helped grow multiple seven-figure businesses while I only have to work a few hours a day. And no matter what transformation you're working on, you don't have to listen to social media about having to disappear for 6 months to make it happen. Your massive change can start right now with this simple 5-step process. And number 4, stay tuned for it because that's how you make sure you keep your mission on track. Step 1, know what you want. Just write down 3 things you want. The key thing here is coming up with things that you want and not looking for an explanation as to why. When you don't know what you want, it's because you feel like you haven't come up with a good enough reason for everybody else. This is about you. You need to know what you want. You're not gonna make massive change just because it sounds pretty and looks good on the internet. You make massive change because it makes your life better and you're the one who assesses how good life is. So choose things you want, not things you need, because things you need have a reason as to why you need them. This is about being in an abundance mindset, which means thinking, what do I want? Just because. So let's say you want a house, maybe you want self-employment and a relationship. You want to be in a house, you want to buy a house, you want to move into a new house, whatever it is for you. You want to work for yourself, whether you want to start a business, become a freelancer, contractor, whatever self-employment means to you. And you want to be in a relationship. You don't have one that you love right now and you would like to find that loved one soon. You got to know what you want and not try to justify it all the time. That is first step to doing this in plain sight, not having to disappear, being unapologetic about what you want. Step 2, learn the standards. What I want you to write at the top here is truths, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up with what is true about the person who already has these things. What would be true about them if they have the house already? What would be true about them if they're already self-employed? What would be true about them if they're already in a relationship? These are standards that a person has implemented into their life if they have successfully achieved any of these desires. Somebody who has the house that you want, they probably have a savings goal and ritual. Someone who is self-employed sells a product or service. And someone in a relationship saves space for someone. When you look at these truths, ask yourself, what am I doing that's the same as someone who would have already achieved this result? Because I need to have new standards in my life if I'm going to attract this thing that I want. And maybe one of these truths is true of you and you have been working on it but needs to be leveled up a bit. That's why we have to go into step number 3. Choose this identity. Look at the truths and say, I need to agree to become this person. I need to take the steps necessary today. They could be small, they could be big, they need to be sustainable so that you get closer to being the person who has achieved these things. We can't go any further until you agree to take on that identity. You cannot be who you are today and have something that you want that you don't have. Whatever you're doing right now is what is equating to what life looks like in this moment. And maybe you're doing a lot of the right things and it's just not time yet. That's okay. We're still stepping into the identity of someone who has become the person who has these things already. And that's okay. That is why the messy middle should just be done no matter who is watching. But if you want a house and you don't currently have a savings plan and you don't have a ritual for how that savings plan gets executed, that's a really great place to start. If you want to be self-employed, but you wouldn't have the first clue what you're selling, then we need to start there. And if you want a relationship, but you continue to conduct yourself as if you are not in one and doing things all on your own, then it's always going to continue to be that way for you because you do not make that space for someone to come into your life. So you know what you want. You've agreed to take on the identity of somebody who holds a higher standard in order to have what you want. Now we need to trigger the follow through. In step 4, we need to take what life looks like right now and connect the dots to where you want to be. So let's identify some of those habits we already have in place because we want to habit stack your success. If you don't have a lot of traction on the savings of your house yet, then there's probably another habit that you've got locked up. And that's paying bills. You might not be saving money, but you're paying something. So let's put pay bills here because you know you're in a pretty good habit of that. Money doesn't seem to get saved because it's always going out to something. So this is a habit we can rely on. If you're not self-employed yet and you need to think about how you're going to sell a product or service, a really great thing to do would be to connect with other people. So when it comes to that, you might be in a great habit of scrolling social media. So if you're already in a good habit of that, let's habit stack it. And if you haven't met anyone yet who could be that potential person for you in your life, then it might be because you've filled up the space with some usual suspects. And there's nothing against those people, but you've got your people you lean on. So a typical habit for you might be to make plans with friends. So if these are the habits we already know we have, whether we want to pull back on them or not, we can actually lean on them. We can rely on them. And now we can stack a habit with them that actually helps us get to where we want to be. So now let's add a new step to our existing habit that is directly tied to this new standard that's in your life. If this truth is true for you, what also are you doing? So every time you pay a bill, agree that before you do, you pay yourself. Now the habit stack of, I have to pay my rent right now, but first I'm gonna save a little bit of money before it flies out the door once again. I'm gonna save it for my house fund because I'm holding a new standard in my life that I will have that house. That only happens if the down payment gets saved. Now for self-employment, you could continue to just scroll social media and see what everybody else is doing all the time, but that's not gonna get you anywhere. Let's now add a habit to this that helps you with the standard. If I'm gonna sell a product or service, I need to get to know other people. I'm not only going to scroll, I'm also going to post content. So every time I'm gonna go for a little scrolly scroll on my social media, I'm gonna first make sure that I share something that helps people find and learn about me and how I can provide solutions. Somebody who's self-employed and cares about marketing and bringing in new leads to their business is posting content consistently. So add that to the habit stack. And now if you're looking for that relationship and you're gonna continue to make plans with friends, cool. Every time you make plans with friends, ask someone new. Whenever you do something with your friends, if you try to find another person who also enjoys the same type of experience to come along, they may not be the person, but they may know the person. And the more you get to know new people, the more they get to know you and the more they can help you reach your goals. Because while you're doing all of this, you're also going to do step number 5. And that is to be the example. Instead of hiding from being in the messy middle or feeling like you're not confident in your new goal yet, stand by it proudly. Everyone wants to disappear for 6 months to try to reach their goals because they would rather have all the weirdness and back and forth and lack of confidence happen behind closed doors. But then what happens is maybe you do reach your goal. And then when you come out and you let the world know about how different you are, you might be able to fall back on some old habits because those people didn't see how hard the work was. They only saw the result. And then you get comfortable in your result. We don't want that. We want to become a better person and it needs to be sustainable. It becomes more sustainable when you share your goal. I've actually said the opposite about this before. I've actually said hide your goal. And I think in some situations, that may be what's best for some people. There might just be a moment where you just don't want to talk about it and you need to make that decision that's right for you. But if you want to make massive change to the point of becoming a new person, there's going to be a day where you have to talk about it. There's going to be a day where you have to confront it. And there's going to be a day where you have to take ownership of it. So when somebody says, why are you posting social media videos? That's so weird. Then you have to say, oh, because I want to be self-employed someday. So I'm bringing awareness to my brand so that someone will hire me. Stand in the standard. Stand with the goal. Do not hide from it. The wrong people will look at you sideways. The wrong people will judge you for the silly stuff. The wrong people are not the ones that are gonna hire you for your gig. When someone says, why do you want to invite someone new to our party? Can we just keep it the same people? I just like our people. I don't like expanding into new worlds. Okay, great. Friend who probably already has a relationship and doesn't care if I'm happy or successful or in love for the rest of my life. That's not working for me. The right people will cheer for you for the right reasons. The right people will understand that you turned down going to dinner because you're saving for a house. If you share that with them, if you let them in, if you bring them into the process. So don't disappear to achieve your goal. Make it happen and let people see you doing it, because that is what's going to build that confidence and thick skin that's going to make the massive change convert you into the person that you truly feel that you want to become. That's the 5-step process for making massive change in your life that's actually sustainable and will stick even when it feels like everyone's watching you in the process. If you want to learn how to stay focused on long-term goals every single day, click the link below and I'll see you there.